But full is full, and that's a good thing, Sherry argued. Why, I understand some of our artists are staying in Magnolia, Camden, and even El Dorado. That can't help but spread the word about the festival. I grinned as I shuttled more cartons off the workspaces. The semi-annual, one-day event the Silver Six had held for the previous 3 years on Sherry's ancestral farmhouse grounds had drawn folk art aficionados from as far away as New Mexico. So the festival wasn't exactly a best-kept secret. Nothing in Lilyvale was. I still say getting everyone from the Chamber of Commerce and the city and county officials on board was the key, Astor said. Less talking, more taping, troops, ex-Navy nurse Maisie ordered, rapping a knuckle on the folding table. She promptly countermanded herself by adding, Nixy, are you certain you have signed waivers for all the vendors? I picked up another of her cartons. Most mailed the release forms back to me, and I'll get the rest when they come to set up. I promise. I have duplicates of every form, permit, and license, and extra copies of the schedule, plus the diagram of where each tent will be. The traffic cones will be set up by 1 this afternoon to block off the parking lots, she fired at me. 1:30, and I'll have the spaces for each vendor marked off by 3. See if you can shave half an hour off that time. When will the large trash bins be out? By day's end, if not sooner. I don't want the vendors to have to weave around obstacles when they're unloading their tents and whatnot. All right, then. Go get us more tape. I'm almost out. So am I, Dab said. And I, Eleanor added. I circled to the counter to snag their completed boxes and paused as Fred handed me his. Don't you have more tape stashed in your tool belt? No, and I ain't got any squirreled away in my overalls either, Missy, so don't be teasing me about what I tote around with me. I only teased you once. Yes, and she got you good, Sherry said on a chortle. Nearly bald, no-nonsense Fred was famous for his many colors of overalls, which he usually wore with plain white T-shirts. All his overalls sported extra pockets sewn on by Astor and Maisie. Every pocket held one gadget or another. Never mind the loaded tool belt he kept fastened to his walker most of the time. The clank-clunking of the belt announced when he was coming, and the man had biceps like Popeye because he lifted the walker more than scooted it. Get on with you now, he said, shooing me with one hand. I got a stash of tape in one of my workroom drawers. And get a few more boxes while you're there, Maisie directed. Aye, aye, I said, resisting the urge to snap a salute. When I opened the connecting door between the store and Fred's workroom and back, Amber and T.C. scampered around me and headed to their water bowls. I closed the door, scooched one of the bar stools we'd scrounged over to one of the 4 large scarred wooden tables, and sank onto the seat. I needed just to breathe in the quiet for a moment. I loved the Silver Six, but most days they ran rings around me. Not that I regretted relocating to Lilyvale. I'd come to town in April with every intention of heading right back to Houston, but in less than a week, I knew I belonged here with Sherry and her housemates. I'd moved in May and never looked back. The Six had pitched in with gusto to make the Emporium happen in record time. We'd primed, painted, and polished the structure inside and out. The only things we'd left alone in this room were the vinyl flooring, the cabinets, and the work tables. I traced a heart and then a spiral someone had carved into the wood and smiled. No matter what logic I'd used, Fred wouldn't hear of sanding and refinishing the tables or cabinets. He said the tables he'd use as workbenches would only get battered again, and so would the pine cabinets, lining 2 walls where he'd stored his tools and supplies. The units had been built of local lumber at least 75 years ago, but he liked that the cabinets had yellowed with age. Gave them character, he'd insisted. Since this was his domain, if he was happy, the rest of us were too. I was proud of what we'd accomplished in just 4 months, and now we were mere hours from welcoming artists for the 2-day festival. Not all of those who sold through us would have booths, and that was fine. I wasn't sure how many more tents we could have accommodated. Would heads roll if there were glitches? No, but